We have gathered here today to hear your names be called aloud once again, one after the other. You were and remain our husband, our wife, our father, our mother, our son, our daughter, our brother, and our sister. We were and are fortunate to have had you in our lives, some for many years, some only for a few days, to have shared our intimate selves with you, enjoyed your laughter, your smell, your voice, cooked and eaten around the same table, traveled with you, listened to your humor, admire you for your generosity and profound respect for your fellow human beings. 10 long years have passed since 2 tons of explosive were thrown against you while you were putting your expertise and passion to the service of the United Nations and the Iraqi people that the UN was expected to protect. 10 years during which at times your loss was almost too hard to bear, the sentiment of injustice and solitude close to overwhelming. We had to learn to live without your presence, realize that the phone would no longer ring, feel an excruciating pain each time your birthday comes, see seasons pass and children grow, despite your absence, in your absence. We have missed you and loved you every single day since that Tuesday in August. During these 10 years, we have also felt your continuous presence while criminal minds unilaterally decided to turn off the light on your lives. Your life choice in support of the most marginalized and vulnerable of this world continues to illuminate the life of your children and grandchildren. Your strong determination for a better world in which indifference is defeated and more equality is being enjoyed by all has galvanized many others. Many have chosen a life path of engagement because of the very legacy you left behind, made of ideals and actions. We have gathered here today to also embrace the colleagues and friends who were with you in the Canal Hotel, the many women and men who were part of the A-team that Kofi Annan and Sergio Vieira de Mello had put together and survived that horrific terrorist bombing. Some excavated with their hands in the rubble in search of you. Some ensured that your belongings reached us safely, and then wrapped the blue flag around your coffin on the boiling tarmac of Baghdad airport. Later, they swallowed their tears to reach us and share accounts of the last minutes of your life before that switch was turned off at 4:30 p.m. on that hot summer day. With some, we have bundled a special friendship that keeps us warm to this day. Many of those colleagues were seriously injured, lost limbs, sight, and hearing, have undertaken countless surgeries over the last years, in some cases until a few months ago. They all endured stress, pain, and long-lasting nightmares. We are here to honor you and them today. We have gathered here today to also feel the embrace, and we did feel it today, of the United Nations family. This was and is your professional family. On the 19th of August 2003, the UN experienced its longest and bleakest day, as stated by former Secretary General Kofi Annan. The bomb that killed you was a terrorist bomb purposely aimed at a UN building. You died because of that very flag flying over the Canal Hotel. Any UN staff could have been you. Since that day of shock and sorrow, the UN family has suffered many more tragic losses, as was recalled today, as a result of violent terrorist attacks and bombings, such as in Kandahar, Mazar al-Sharif, Kabul, Abuja, Alger, and more recently, as recalled by Jason, Mogadishu. Hundreds like us in the 4 corners of the world had to experience loss and mourning over the last decade. Our thoughts and solidarity goes out to all of them on this special day. The UN is increasingly called to deploy in complex situations where the blue flag no longer provides for safety. You responded to that call, and so continue to do thousands of other competent and dedicated officers in this organization. Finally, We've gathered here today in the presence of the Secretary General and the senior management of the organization to also share our experiences in the aftermath of such a devastating event. And we appreciate the time that was set aside in today's program to do so. Our experience tells us that the organization has still a long way to go to fully acknowledge and deal with the physical and psychological damage suffered in the line of duty by UN staff and their families, in the immediate but also in the long term. The UN cannot claim to be able to care for others when it cannot adequately take care of its own staff in need. And doing so is not about charity. It is about upholding rights and dignity, which is at the core of the UN's global mandate. All of us sitting here have endured at different levels the limitations of the current UN rules in support of victims' family members and affected staff, and the inadequacy of the organization to stand beside its own victims in the pursuit of a prompt and effective investigation into this horrific, malicious attack. Many of the staff who survived the blast in Baghdad have left service prematurely over the last decade due to the organization's inability to reintegrate them with dignity, taking into account and full account their disability and trauma. Orphan children had to receive a lesser quality education because of no after-death provision for education. Too many brave national staff and their families were abandoned to their destiny. Today, we're also here to honor and remember those who were left behind, having succumbed to a bureaucratic system whose rules and frameworks have to be further improved in order to better respond to the needs and consequences of today's UN operations. And many of us here, Mr. Secretary General, have been and continue to be available to engage constructively in this important reflection. We have gathered here today to hear your names be called aloud once again, one after the other. Nadia, Sergio, Fiona, Ihsan, Richard, Christopher, Reham, Martha, Jean-Selim, Manuel, Ekmad, Len, Ranilo, Reza, Basim, Raid, Gillian, Kidir, Arthur, Saad, Alia, and Omar. May your names continue to resonate for many years to come.
Thank you, Laura.